Hello human! Welcome back to another Dankdoor / entitled parents videos. What kind of laptop do you guys use? A MacBook or Windows laptop? Or you just purely use a desktop? We have here the first story by u/ Krusty Krabs. My crazy aunt tried to steal my MacBook, and when she can't, she breaks it. So, I'm female, 17, and this is my EP story. My auntie and her 3 children came from Texas to visit us for the weekend. I wasn't happy because her oldest son, 19 years old, would always pick on me when I was younger. It was the first time in 10 years that she visited. She comes into our house with oldest son and a younger son, 12 years old, and a younger daughter, 8. I put on my best fake smile and say hi. I tell the 2 youngest that they can go upstairs and play on my Xbox until it is supper. I sit down beside my twin brother and my mom. I do lots of video editing, Photoshop, etc. And my Final Cut Pro X is my software of choice. I got 15-inch MacBook Pro a few months ago because of this. As my 2013 iMac wasn't cutting it, as everyone was talking and me and my brother are using our phones. Because our mom said we had to be down here to catch up with everyone. EA goes upstairs to see the house. I follow her and offer to show her around the house. When she goes up there, she sees my MacBook and asks, "Who is that?" This is how the convo goes down. EA equals to entitled aunt. Me equals to me, or Krusty. EA: Krusty, whose laptop is that? Me: oh, that's my laptop. EA: can I hold it? Me: sure. EA holds it. EA: wow, Krusty, this feels nice. Can I keep it? Me: absolutely not. EA: I'll pay you. This was probably like $500. Me: this is a $5,000 laptop. I worked my butt off for this. I'm not just going to give it to you. EA: Krusty, I deserve it. I haven't seen you guys in 10 years, and you don't even get me a gift? Me: is that my fault? I don't think so. EA: well, since you won't give it to me, you should be able to use it either. This tramp opened the laptop and threw it on the ground, then stepped on it with her high heels. If we had carpeted floors, the laptop would have probably been fine, but we don't. And once she stepped on it, I knew it was done. I call my mom and dad, and they come running up. My mom asked why she did it, and she literally mumbled, "Because she wouldn't give it to me." She and all her children are banned from our house. I'm turning 18 in less than a week, so I'll wait until I'm officially an adult to be able to sue her for the damages. I have filed a police report and we're going to court. Let's do this! Trial incoming! At the end, I won the case. I showed pics and everything to the judge, and my mom and dad heard the screaming. And when they came up, they saw her stepping on my laptop and took the pics. She owes me a lot of money. I'm so happy. Well, usually entitled people only talking BS when things don't go their way, but this is some next level of craziness. Next up, we have the second story shared by u/ Nap for Life. A 5 years old has to have my $600 fountain pen. So I collect fountain pen, some of which are very beautiful, rare, and expensive. A significant amount of my collection is cheap Chinese knockoff pens that I've been inking dozens or even hundreds of inks at once. But I mostly keep them to give away to people who are interested in dipping their toes in the hobby. They're certainly not bad pens, but nothing like my nicer ones, and not as extravagant looking. I used to work at an extended day camp over summers, and I am still friends with the people I work with there. Next to the classroom building is a park with a playground, which is technically a public park. But I've never seen anyone, but people related to school use it. At the end of the day, when parents are picking up their kids, we'd bring the kids to the playground to wait for their parents. Last week, I went up to pick my friend who worked there and hung around with her at the playground. Because there was only one last little girl there, 5-ish years old I think, whose mom was a bit late. She seemed really sweet and interested in my stuff. So I showed her my pen collection and she asked politely to try one. I was happy to show her how to use one of my cheapy pens. And she was very gentle and patient with it. So I told her if her mom gave permission, she could pick out a cheapie to keep. Eventually her mom showed up with another mom and another 5-ish years old girl. She immediately ran to her mom and started excitedly telling her about the pens. and her mom said she could have one. So she ran back and carefully picked one out. While she was happily showing her mom, I heard the other mom telling her kid, "Go ahead and pick one." The other girl came up and immediately pointed at one of my admittedly very colorful and sparkly expensive pens and said, "I'd like this one, please." She was never pushy during the whole incident, so I can't fault the child. The mom though. So I start explaining to her that was my personal collection, and if I could show her how to use one of the cheapies, and if she was nice to it, I would let her pick one of those. She seemed to understand and just said okay. But her mom interrupted and said, "Excuse me? You let the other little girl pick whatever she wanted. You have to let mine choose." So I start to explain again that this is like $600 pen. And she's angrily like, "No, that is the one she picked, so you have to give it to her." I'd like to say I had some kind of repartee with her where I showed her how dumb she is, but I was just dumbfounded and could only stare at her in shock for a second. My brain was like, "Pen's in danger!" So I just zipped my case, packed it in my bag, and started walking away to get my friend and go. This lady is getting upset and trying to stop me the whole time I'm walking away. But I didn't say another word to her as we left. I felt bad about her kid, who really wasn't that bad. But no one needs a fountain pen except me, obviously. I love how his brain just activated the danger mode. Alert, alert, pen in danger! And he just started walking away immediately without even bother to say a word. Moving on to the third story shared by u/BugDaddy420. M feels cheated out of her inheritance. Hey internet people, this is more of an entitled family story, but has an M in here, so I thought I'd give it a shot. Little backstory. I came from a highly dysfunctional family and tried to spend as much time away from them as possible. In 3rd grade, 9 to 10 years old, I met a set of twins that would become lifelong friends and their family a second to my own. At the head of their family was their grandfather. He was extremely rough around the edges. No bull giving or taking. My way or the highway kind of guy. And the fact that he was half Mexican, half Mescalera Page didn't help. Every one of us boys at the house was scared to death of him, and no one wanted to go out of town with him to work. When I was 21, I ended up helping him on a job outside of Fort Worth. And during this time, we bonded. I called him Pop, and he called me Son. A couple of months after we started the Fort Worth job, Pop received the call that his aunt had passed away. We stayed up having a few drinks, and he told me stories about her till the roster crowd. He described her to me in the same manner that as boy would describe him to others. Now, this woman would drink a fifth of bourbon and smoke 5 cigars every day till the day she died. But she made it to nearly 100 before she croaked. During the last 20 or so years of her life, the majority of her family had absolutely nothing to do with her, with the exception of one grandson. She had also amassed a nice little spread outside of Waco, having over 100-acre ranch, a large farmhouse, and a 7-figure bank account. Pop decided we should attend the funeral. A few days later, we found ourselves in a small funeral parlors in the craptastic town of Waco. The funeral was going all funerals go with some people sobbing, others binge drinking, and most of the kids looking bored AF. As Bob and I are sitting quietly minding our own, we hear this increasingly louder conversation behind us. Enter the cast. M, grandson's mom. EF 1, 2, and 3, entitled family, most likely the other daughters. GG, the good grandson. EF 1, really? Everything? What do you mean everything? M, that's what the lawyer said. EF 2, she can't do this to us, can she? EF 3, there has got to be something that we can do about this. It's his fault that she died. If he hadn't provided her with the whiskey and cigars all those years, she would still be alive. M, don't worry, he's my son and will do whatever I say. We'll sell everything and split it evenly between just the 4 of us. It was at this point Pops caught on to what was being discussed, as I'm sure everyone else around had. And he, being a man not to hold his tongue, lost it. It went something like this. Y'all need to shut y'all butts. He loved to say that. This woman lived to be nearly 100 years old, and you're going to try and say he did that to her on purpose? Over what? Money? If you cared so much about her, where were y'all the last 20 years of her life? He didn't do it for the money. He did it because it was his grandma, and it was the right thing to do. Before M and EF could regain their composure, Gigi came up, looked his mom in the eye and said, "Goodbye, Mom. This is the last time any of y'all will see me again," and simply walked out the door. The last I heard about any of it, Gigi was enjoying his life out on the ranch and refused to have any contact with his immediate family. I spent another 6 months traveling with Pops, working constructions, and learning masonry. He passed about 7 to 8 years back. I miss that man. Even if no one reads this, it felt really nice to talk about Pop. Damn, that's really sucks. I'm sure he was an amazing man, and I'm glad that you got to be so close to him. We have here the final story written by you slash the farmer dude. Entitled Family body shamed my 9 years old daughter, calling her fat and worthless. I lose it. Okay, for some background, I'm a father of 9 years old girl who's my whole world. Her mother and I split up 3 months after her birth when I found out she had been cheating. Naturally, I got a DNA test and thankfully she was mine. Problem is, her mother doesn't care about her health. She feeds her whatever she wants, and even gives her coffee and donuts for breakfast sometimes. It's a mess. I've called CPA and the police in the past for wellness check, but it's gotten me nowhere. So, since she was about like 4, she's had a weight issue. Now, onto today's story that happened about an hour ago. Cast, EK1 entitled Kid 1 about like 13 to 14, EK2 entitled Kid 2. Same age, they honestly look like twins but definitely brothers. M entitled Mother, ED entitled Father, MD my little girl, me, well, me. So my daughter is aware she's overweight. She's teased constantly at school, so I've made it a habit to visit her at least 3 times a week each week for lunch, as she always asks me to come so she can eat lunch in peace from the mean students. This weekend was her weekend with me, and she's taken a liking to basketball, which I think is great. She asked me this morning to go to the park down the road in our community to shoot some baskets with her. Of course, I say yes and we go. When we get there, I park and immediately notice 2 kids entitled Kid 1 and 2 sitting at one of those park table cussing and throwing a basketball back and forth at each other. I pay them no mind and we walk up to the court that isn't being used. I also noticed 2 adults who end up being out entitled parents, about mid-30s, sitting on a park bench about 30 feet away smoking and messing around on their phones. And we start shooting and she's having fun when I hear it. EK1, "Get the hell off the court, fat butt! We were about to use it and you're just too fat to play anyways. Look at you, you can't even make a shot!" My daughter is like 9 and still learning, mind you. EK2, "Yeah, maybe go home and use a treadmill." They both start laughing. Now they said this with me right in front of them and I'm pissed. I'm a big guy, 6'1", 190 pounds, and unlike others, I don't like confrontation. But I'm not scared to engage if necessary. Me. Okay, first off, both of you kids, watch your damn mouths and do not insult my daughter again. You really think that's okay? Insulting someone on something so sensitive and you think it's a laughing matter? Your parents are doing something wrong. That's when the parents who are still at the bench hear me and join in on the fun, for them at least. M, "Who the hell do you think you are? Why are you yelling at my sweet boys?" ED, "Yeah, you better watch out what you say, dude." Me, "Your precious boys are standing here insulting my daughter and calling her fat. You two really think that it's okay to insult a child younger than them over something she's already been mocked about at school. We are here trying to get some exercise in and play some basketball and just have fun. I don't need to deal with you or your little punk butt boys insulting her." Entitled Mom looks at me without blinking, like what I just said was the special at a restaurant. M, "So, what was wrong with what they said? Look at her, she's fat, isn't she? They're being honest, she shouldn't be here." Like, what the duck? ED, "Yeah, they're doing her a favor. She's just embarrassing herself. I mean, look at her." Then they all start laughing. Literally 2 teens and 2 freaking adults laughing at my little girl while she's standing behind me trying so hard not to cry. I lost my crap. Me, "Alright then, you two," pointing at the parents, "are talking trash. So they're being honest, and that's okay? Alright, fine. Here's some honesty. Your sons are punk trashes, and I promise you, eventually another kid will stand up for themselves and knock their teeth out. And I, as a normal adult, ducking despise these kinds of behaviors. You both are crappy parents, thinking what your kids are doing is acceptable. Edie, watch what you say to my wife and sons. Your daughter is fat. Deal with it. MD, yeah? And you're a mean man, and you shouldn't say these things to people. She's crying, and I'm pissed and even more upset at this. Me, watch what I say, or what, bud? What are you going to do? You and your perfect little family seem to think honesty is alright, no matter what form, so I'm telling you, you're just garbage. And unlike my daughter, I'm an adult, and I won't put up with any more of your BS. Especially if any of you say another word to my daughter, I swear you'll regret it. I was maybe 3 inches from the father's face when I said this. Looking back, maybe I shouldn't have said you'll regret it, but I was pissed and in protection mode. Edie just stares at me without moving for about 10 seconds with me not moving. Me, we're not leaving. My daughter just wanted a fun day at the park, and I won't tolerate another negative word said against her. Test me if you want. Edie and M look at each other before M finally scoffs. EK 1 and 2, let's go, we're going home. They begin walking away down the street towards their house. I'm watching them most of the way, because I have a feeling they would say something else, and I was right, sadly. When they're about 100 or so feet down the street, the dad yells, "Have fun with your fat daughter, punk!" And they hurry their walk. I start running after them. I was done. I'm not putting up with this anymore. When I hear my daughter in a calm voice, MD, Daddy, just let them leave. Now we can play alone. She's smiling now. I can tell she's right. She just wants to have this all to be over with. Me, alright, sweetie, wanna play horse? MD, yeah, you go first. And thanks for sticking up for me, Daddy. I'm so sick of these people. Me, always, hun. I know. Don't worry. Let's just have some fun. I'll always be there to help you when I can. I give her a hug. We had a good time for the next hour shooting hoops and then went home. Thanks for reading, guys, and don't put up with people like this. If you're someone who's dealing with similar situations, you're not alone, and don't forget that. Be the bigger person and know that if they're doing this to you, remember that you're in control. And they're trying to elicit a reaction from you, and it's up to you to give them the satisfaction. To any of you saying this is fake, I wish it was, but it wasn't. Well, you're a good man with a good heart. Keep on showing that little girl how to be brave and how to take care of herself. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.